Hey y'all, Susie and Clark here from Unicoi Preserves, and we're so excited to be back here again with you at the Ingles table.
Excited is the right word because we are making spicy and sweet crock pot pork, and it is so good.
All right, so let's get started. Clark, what is this massive piece of pork you have?
Well, since we're cooking this in a big crock pot, I went to Ingles and got the largest pork butt that they had in the case.
Well, you did well. How do you get started with this?
So this guy is about 8 pounds here, but this is a pork butt, also known as a pork shoulder. This has the bone in it. They sell boneless ones. If you have a small crock pot, you could certainly do it that way. But this recipe is geared towards the bone inside. So what I do when we're cooking this in a crock pot, it cooks low and slow. To help this fat cap render, I like to just score this a little bit. This lets the seasoning get down in the meat and helps that fat render out a little bit.
I'm gonna move back with
All
that
right.
knife.
And since I'm working with raw pork, I've got gloves on. And Susie, first off, we're gonna put a couple onions that are quartered in the bottom of the crock pot, and that roast is gonna rest on top of that. But if you want to season this with salt and pepper.
Okay, so what this is, Clark said, a big roast. It's about 8 pounds. So we're gonna be very generous with the seasoning because this is where all the flavor is coming from initially. Whoops. If you start sneezing, you'll know why.
That's right.
Okay, that looks pretty good.
You want to get this on all sides.
All right, let me get the salt back. You don't want one-sided seasoned food.
No. That's good.
But I tell you, Ingles meat selection, they get these big cuts of meat, and I really like the idea of cooking one big piece early in the week, and then we've got all this to build our meals on throughout the week. Because think of all the different things that we can make with this roast once it's cooked.
I'm trying not to inhale as you do that black pepper so I don't sneeze on camera. But yeah, this is gonna make a lot. We're gonna shred it up. So we're gonna show you our favorite way to make it when it's freshly cooked, and then we'll give you some ideas of some other ingredients, other things you can turn it into.
Because that's the thing, you know, if you look in your refrigerator and you think, well, what do I need to use? What's gonna make it easy on me? If you start with a big cut of protein like we're doing here today, you can morph this into breakfast, lunch, and dinners for several days. So it really is a budget-friendly cut of meat. Okay, I think that looks pretty. Oh, we got one more side.
The big bottom
Man,
side.
you're a slave driver today, I tell you what. I'm gonna make sure we get it all good in there. All right, don't inhale. One more thing of pepper. Woo-hoo-hoo. All right, how's that, Chef?
All right.
Oh, now I'm gonna sneeze.
So this is gonna go in on top of the onions, and we told you that this was, see, that barely fits. It's a big one. I'm gonna pull off these gloves since I'm done with the raw pork.
Okay, so a little bit of brown sugar.
Spicy and sweet, a little bit of brown sugar.
Just pour that on top.
And
then,
I'll take it.
Okay.
Chipotles and adobo. Chipotles are, Susie?
Smoked jalapeno peppers.
Good job, sorry
So this
to put you on the spot.
You put me on the spot, but this is where your spice is gonna come from. Spice is such a subjective thing. There was one time that we made this roast for Clark's parents. I will never forget the look on your mom's face.
Oh yeah.
It was too spicy for her. So since that day, we have dialed back the spice. Now, you know who you're cooking for, right?
Right.
So we're gonna morph this into other meals. You can always add more spice to the pork later.
So the spicy is the chipotle, the sweet is some of the brown sugar, and here's the twist. This is Laura Lynn, Dr. Lynn soda. We're putting 2 cans of this in.
So this is a very flavorful soda pop. It's got cherry, some different little fuzzy spices in it that I love.
Yep.
And it is gonna cook down with the pork and the onion and the chipotle, make a beautiful sauce.
So we're gonna put the lid on this, start it on high for an hour, then turn it down to low and let it finish cooking. It's gonna probably take 6 to 7 hours to cook. You know it's done when you can take a fork in there, stick it in the meat and twist it, and it just starts to fall apart. It will literally fall apart into pieces when it's done. It's very tender and juicy. But we've got some that's already done, so we're gonna put this away, come back and show you what it looks like and build a sandwich with it. Okay, so we are back with some that we've already prepared. Now, what we showed you how to make it was in the crock pot. But Susie, you can also do it.
You can do it in the oven. If you don't have a crock pot, Visit Ingles-markets.com. We've got the oven how-to right up there for you.
Yep. So basically, do not get rid of the liquid that you cook it in. It makes the delicious gravy, which is what we've got. We've got some that's shredded and heated up here. Those chipotles, I use a can, the jar that's already chopped because I like to leave them in the sauce.
All right, let's put some on there,
Chef. Put some on here, making a barbecue sandwich.
Ooh, that's going to be so good. Now, today we're making sandwiches, but we have used this. One of our favorite nights with this roast out of the crock pot is
tacos. Who doesn't love tacos?
Tacos.
This is great. You just heat a little bit up, drain it really well, put it on some flour or corn tortillas, top it with some fresh cabbage, a little bit of pickled onions,
now,
a little bit of cilantro. Delicious.
These are refrigerator quick pickles. I made the onions and the pickles. They don't require any canning. You make a very simple brine, cut up your vegetables. You can find the recipe at Ingles-markets.com. So it's a little
It adds a
way
nice little
to
bit of
add.
acidity and crunch to the sandwich.
Yeah.
And then a couple of those pickles.
Do you want the pickles on the side?
Yeah, put them on the side.
All right. So these have got beautiful fresh dill from Ingles, some pickling spice. But like I said, you can get the recipe. Yeah, why don't you hold it before I lose it? All right, I'm gonna put one more pickle on there.
All right.
That looks delicious.
And there you go.
But I love making a breakfast hash with that pork. If you have some leftover oven roasted potatoes, you could cook it on your outside griddle, get the pork all nice and crispy, put in some onion and potatoes. So many uses for that pork. So it doesn't just have to be sandwiches.
We want to thank you so much for joining us here today at the Ingles table.
Make sure and explore the rest of the site for more wonderful fall recipes. We'll see you next time.